Go ahead and get started at the Finance and Infrastructure Committee. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are going to begin with public comment. If there's anyone from the public who wishes to comment. Good morning.
Grand Rising, everyone. D. Jones. It's thankful to be alive. First off, I gotta say, I got up, then I checked and seen, and I got an invite by the United Nations to speak on infrastructure. And today I'm speaking to you guys on infrastructure. No lie, I actually got an invite for infrastructure today by the United Nations. Crazy. And so I believe one day this global vision that I have of actually equitably just increasing access to innovation and just healthcare and housing and esports and gaming and 3D printing construction. I believe all of these things that I'm doing is going to be benefiting Kent County. I also like that you guys are appropriating funds to the community action because I like community action. I like that department. I like that they actually help with a lot of stuff around community, helping people with their bills sometimes, helping people with resources, helping people being able to access grant funding and grants to be able to build housing. Also, I'll help one of my friends get a business card in one of the political offices around here, the Kent Dems. I like for the Republicans to also be open to helping black entrepreneurs, regardless of how people actually politically align. I just like our government to be open to people to be able to also get bids, because there are black entrepreneurs and people from the hood that like to create businesses, and government contracts is a thing. And if those black people from the underserved communities could actually help build infrastructure or be able to get these bids and contracts to be able to help themselves, I think that would be really nice for people to be able to come from these underserved, under-resourced communities, especially like people really from the hood. My friends are really from the hood. They come from these crazy backgrounds. They've been in these shootings. They've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've seen people get shot. I've been around police officers that know that I've seen people get shot because we were in the same peripherals of people getting shot. And so I've seen a lot of crazy violence. I've seen a lot of things, but I love for our government to be able, our county government, to offer those bids, to offer those contracts, offer some education on how people can actually get those bids and those contracts from underserved communities, people from the hood and other communities too. But I'm just saying that black people just get the end of the poop end of everything. And I like for us to be the golden gloss one day. I love for us to be the golden standard, because we are the golden standard. As you know, the gold in Egypt and all of our history that's in Egypt, that is America. We are America. The labor of our backs is built on America. So I like for our county to actually give us an equitable chance to be able to get access to those bids, those grants, to be able to build our community and infrastructure up, because we belong here. We have to create for in a society that doesn't give us the opportunity to build. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to comment for public comment this morning? Okay, seeing no additional comment, we will move on to agenda item 3, the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda? Moved by Chair Green, supported by Commissioner Sparks. Questions or comments on the consent agenda this morning? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to item number 4, our action items. Item A comes to us from Community Action, appropriate subrecipient CDBG funds from the city of Wyoming. Al?
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $799,937.69 of the City of Wyoming's Community Development Block Grant Funding, CDBG, including anticipated program income, to the FY26 Community Development Fund budget for administration and operation of Community Development Block Grant activities as a subrecipient for the City of Wyoming, and authorize the Board Chair or designee to execute related grant agreements, extensions, and amendments and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. Summary: the City of Wyoming has elected to discontinue operating its own CDBG block grant program for FY26. As part of this transition, Kent County Community Action will administer and operate eligible CDBG activities on behalf of the City of Wyoming as a subrecipient under a cooperative agreement approved by on Kent County Board Resolution 11-6-2589. This request appropriates a total of $799,937.69 of Wyoming uncommitted CDBG funds from the current and prior fiscal years, including $458,899 for FY26, $167,568.21 from 25, $16,648.53 from FY24, $48,206.88 from FY23, $18,815.61 from FY22, and $14,799.46 from FY21, and $75,000 in anticipated 2026 program year income. Funds will support eligible housing, community development, public service, infrastructure, and administrative activities that meet HUD national objectives and benefit low and moderate income residents within the city of Wyoming. Corporate Council will review and approve as to form.
Is there a motion for this item? Motion. Moved by Commissioner Sparks, supported by Commissioner Pakla. Questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Chair. I am glad that we have a structure set up at the county level to support this. I did wonder, do we run our CDBG funding structure any differently than the city of Wyoming did in terms of eligible recipients or guidelines for, sort of income limitations? Are there any differences, or are we literally just sort of taking over exactly what they had been doing?
Sure, good.
I know we approved this previously, so this is just me reminding myself.
Yep, good question. Chad Kaufman, Kent County's Community Development Program Manager in our Community Action Department. We run things pretty much the same. It's the same guidelines from HUD, targeting low to moderate income individuals or households at 80% AMI or lower. This actually gives us a great opportunity to build on our efficiencies. We serve and have served for multiple years a lot of the same through a lot of the same partners, so a lot of the same nonprofits we fund. We actually this year we're funding a contract with Kent County funds and with Wyoming funds to the same partner, and then next year it'll just be one contract instead of two contracts.
That's great, and I think this is a really good example of where those efficiencies come into play in terms of being able to serve more individuals within the county, right? To your point, we have the structure set up to be able to serve more people than Wyoming necessarily did. The second question I had is, I see that some of these funds go back 5 years that we are receiving. Are there time limitations on those, and are we planning to sort of spend the earliest funds first? Or is there any sort of guidance that you've gotten from HUD on that?
Yeah, actually with CDBG funds, we have just a little over 7 years to spend them. All grantees do. So we will be able to spend those dollars down, and yes, we're going to start with the oldest dollars first and make sure that those get done. Those were carryover funds from contracts that were under budget at the city of Wyoming. So we're going to target those funds first, and over the course of this next program year, we'll be assigning out all those dollars.
Great, thank you, and thank you for the great work.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to item B, also from Community Action. Approve the fiscal year 2026 KCCA Community Development Action Plan and Appropriation.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve the Kent County Community Development Annual Action Plan for July 1, 26 through June 30, 27, to accept and appropriate $2,709,462.72 in revenue for the CDBG Home Investment Partnership and Emergency Solutions Grant Programs to the FY26 Community Development Fund budget, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant documents related to the plan, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. Summary: Kent County qualifies as an urban county, making it eligible to receive funding from HUD for its 45th year as an entitlement community. The 5-year extended consolidated plan, covering July 1, 26 through June 30, 2030, includes a needs assessment, market analysis, and corresponding goals and objectives. This plan is a required component for receiving CDBG, ESG, and home funding from HUD. The annual action plan serves as a grant application and outlines the proposed activities and budget for the use of these funds during the period of July 1, 26 through June 30, 27. This includes projects submitted by local units of government and program proposals from local nonprofits. The anticipated federal funding for July 1, 26 through June 30, 27 includes CDBG of $1,659,939, ESG of $147,071, and home of $872,452.72. The appropriation also accounts for an estimated $25,000 in program income from the CDBG Housing Rehab Program and $5,000 in anticipated program income from the Home Investment Partnerships Program. And council will review and approve, as is normal.
Thank you, Al. Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Oliver King. Is there support? Support by Commissioner Pakla. Questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was curious, I don't have any concerns about approving the plan, but I was curious to see the plan, if we might be able to either get that sent after this meeting or have it sent before the time that we would approve this at the full board. Just sort of to better understand what that
Sure, we
process
can make
is.
sure to make it, that's forwarded on. I believe it's 200 and some pages, which
Yep.
is maybe why it's not attached as an
Totally
attachment. It is
understand that.
posted on the Kent County Community Action webpage.
I'll look there. Yep.
And then was open for public comment for the past month and a half.
Great, thank you.
But we will send it out to make sure everyone gets it before the board meeting.
Yeah, appreciate
Okay.
it.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, thank you. Seeing no additional questions or comments, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to item C from the Administrator's Office, Purchase of Development Rights, Robinson Property.
Action requested, recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $218,460 from the U.S. Department of Agricultural Natural Resources Conservation Service, we'll call that NRCS, to the Agricultural Preservation Program in the FY26 Special Projects Fund budget for the purchase of development rights and to authorize the board chair or designate to execute the grant agreements, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. Summary. The Board of Commissioners approved the PDR ordinance on November 26, 2002. Resolution 11-21-24-121 approved the 2025, 26, and 27 Kent County PDR selection criteria. Kent County applied to the USDA NRCS for funds through the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, agricultural land easements, and the county has been informed of a grant award in the amount of $218,460. The funding is only to be used for the purchase of development rights for approximately 109 acres in Solon Township. The ACEP ALE grant will cover an estimated 50% of the fair market value of development rights. The remaining unfunded portion is anticipated to be covered through a grant from the Michigan Department of Ag and Rural Development and a landowner donation. The county will be eligible to submit an application to MDARD in early 2027. The Ag Preservation Board has funds in the Agricultural Preservation Fund held by the Grand Rapids Community Foundation to cover closing costs. This parcel contract would become effective on the date signed by the NRCS obligating official and would extend through March 31 of 29. The conservation easement and all associated documents will be reviewed by council.
Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Ponstein. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Oliver King. Questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair. Al, something that's always caught my mind, there's a fund at the Grand Rapids Community Foundation. Can we maybe, I don't need it today, but maybe what's in that fund? How much does it get donated to by the public? I don't know. I mean, it was set up probably a decade or more before, but just some information about that fund.
Haley, do you have that info? And whatever she doesn't have today, we'll get right on.
Yes, yeah, so we can certainly put that together. In terms of that fund, I believe, I don't know exactly when it was started, but I believe it was started by a 50,000 endowment. And over time, that has grown, and I can get you that number of what it's grown to. The funds that go in there are mainly from our Culver's fundraisers. as well as some individual donations.
Commissioner Ponstein, did you have a follow-up? You looked like you. Okay. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. So PDR, obviously it's important questions of, the larger, questions of land use and like how, preserving farmland fits. I mean, there are good models out there, some good versions of like transfer of development rights. We're kind of stuck with this antiquated model of PDR here in Kent County. I've always been opposed to this model, one, because it doesn't make sense to me that, in 400 years, the residents of Kent County are bound to particular land use restraints of these properties, not knowing what life will even look like that far down the road. And even worse in my mind is if somebody wanted to purchase one of these properties and actually let it go back to a natural state of a forested, property or what have you, this makes that illegal. I think that's silly, so I'll be voting against it.
Any other questions or comments on this item this morning? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. We are on to item D from the Administrator's Office, purchase of development rights, the Kruthoff property.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $157,250 from the Michigan Department of Ag and Rural Development and $108,750 from a landowner donation to the Ag Preservation Program in the FY26 Special Projects Fund budget for the purchase of development rights and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreements, approve extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriation not to exceed 15% of the original award. Summary. Resolution 827-2070 previously authorized the acceptance and appropriation of $335,430 from the U.S. Department of Ag, Natural Resources Conservation Service, and Resolution 513-2142 previously authorized the acceptance and appropriation of $201,294 from MDARD toward the purchase of development rights for the Kruthoff property. Since the previous resolutions, changes in the parcels, acreage, and subsequent appraisals have led to an amendment in the value of the development rights for the property, as well as the funding applicable toward the purchase. Additionally, the original grant funding from MDARD expired on September 30, 2025, requiring submission for a new grant award. The county has been notified by MDARD that it will receive a Michigan Agricultural Preservation Fund grant in the amount of $157,250. Additionally, the landowner has agreed to donate $108,750 toward the cost of the development rights. The NCRS grant previously appropriated will be reduced to $175,000. The term of the MDARD grant is June 1 of 26 through September 30 of 27. The grant from NRCS will expire on March 31 of 27. The grant is only to be used for the purchase of development rights by four parcels in Tyrone Township, totaling approximately 109 acres, appraised at $435,000. Additional funding of $6,000 is included in the MDARD grant for the title expense and appraisal reimbursement. The agricultural conservation easement and all associated clearance documents will be reviewed by council.
Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Ponstein. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Oliver King. Questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Pakla.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Al, I was just doing some math in here, and I was trying to understand. So the NCRS grant is being reduced from what previously had been appropriated, $335,000 down to $170,000. There's a delta of $165,000. What's happening with those dollars? Are we applying it to a different project, or?
So this property started out as 6 parcels, and it was estimated at about $670,000. And so with the reduction to 4 parcels, The appraised value has gone down to 435. And so with that, the grant amount reduces. So we're not receiving 335 and putting 175. We're only going to be receiving 175.
Perfect. I appreciate that clarification. Thanks.
Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Teal. Now, this family has been here before to preserve other pieces of property, correct? And, you know, to Commissioner Coleman's comment that it's an archaic system, maybe there's a better one, but this is one thing that this program has tried to do, is not just preserve a lone farm in the middle of nowhere and then nothing else is around it and then it's built up all around it. One of the philosophies is to get these properties in an area where the whole area can be protective and then draw ag businesses into that. So I know by not funding it or any source from governments like the feds and the state, it's kind of difficult to do, but this is one example of that bundling. And if you've ever been to the farms that they have up there, it's an outstanding asset to the county.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to item E from Parks and Recreation, funding from Ada Township for the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge Capital Improvement Program project.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to accept and appropriate $4,365,000 from Ada Township to the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge project in the FY26 CIP fund budget, and to authorize the county administrator or designee to execute the funding agreements on behalf of the county, approve agreement extensions, amendments, and increases to the grant appropriations not to exceed 15% of the original award. Summary: as part of the Grand River Greenway Initiative, the Kent County Parks Department has partnered with Ada Township, the Kent County Road Commission, and Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. on the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge project, which will complete an essential gap in the Ada Trail system and connect miles of existing Ada Township and Grand Rapids Township trails to the burgeoning Grand River Greenway. While being led by Kent County Parks, all cash funding for the project is being provided by the other three partner organizations. The proposed agreement with Ada Township provides for funding up to $4,365,000 on a reimbursement basis. The project is slated to begin in June of '26 with a muscle relocation project. Construction mobilization will begin in July of '26 with an anticipated completion in August of '27. The proposed agreement is in the final stages of review between the County Corporation Council and Ada Township Legal Counsel and will be approved by the County Corporate Council before execution.
Is there a motion for this item?
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Hildebrand. Is there support? Supported by Commissioner Halsted. Questions or comments? Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Teal. Being in city government years ago, I remember down 28th Street we had all these pedestrian bridges that became obsolete, unsafe, dangerous, and they started to take all these things down. Now, I've got nothing against pedestrian bridges, but it seems like we're back on a track that's a good way to get people across the roadway safely. So what is the expected lifespan of this pedestrian bridge once it's built?
Great, good question, thank you. My anticipation that would be with minimal maintenance, before we have to invest any significant dollars in it, it would be somewhere between 25 and 35 years. If you read through the agreement, there's also language in there that is very clear that the Kent County Parks Department and Ada Township will collaborate on capital maintenance in the future. And Ada Township is taking over all of the standard maintenance, so they'll do the snow plowing and the leaf removal and the grass cutting on the other side of the bridge and all that. Yep.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Commissioner Coleman.
Yeah, I just want to follow up on Commissioner Ponstein's question because I think it's a really good one. So these funds, the capital here is from the ARPA dollars, so it's kind of this one-time, influx of capital. So are we as the county assuming the, long-term responsibility for capital maintenance, and do we have the funding sources in the future to be able to support that?
So if you're talking about the standard capital maintenance, yes, so we're taking that over and we do have the funds to support that. It's typically going to be things like replacing deck boards, so on and so forth. Also note that this project is being built on the Kent County Road Commission Bridge superstructure. We are not taking over responsibility for maintenance of the piers or maintenance of the vehicle bridge or anything like that, even though part of the project does include the extension of the piers. So sometime as soon as I get an agreement from the Kent County Road Commission, I'll be back in front of you because they are contributing money to this as well. So it is truly a three-part project. 100 years from now, yeah, the bridge may break down, rust out. There might be a need for, a significant capital maintenance. As you mentioned before, it's hard to predict out that far, what our funding source is going to be, if it's even going to be, there may be something 100 years in the future. We don't need the pedestrian bridge anymore. So, when meeting with Ada Township, we kind of talked about, okay, when those situations come up, we are going to write something in agreement that says we'll get together and figure it out.
That's very helpful. So we're kind of the superstructure is the road commission's problem, and we're kind of an adjacent, structure that is a smaller problem at that future.
Correct.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to our final action item, F, from Parks and Recreation, funding from DGRI for the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge and Johnson Park Trailhead Improvement Capital Improvement Program projects.
Action requested. Recommend to the Board of Commissioners to approve an amendment to the subrecipient Grand River Greenway Grant Agreement with DGRI to accept and appropriate $1,106,232 from DGRI to the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge Project and Johnson Park Trailhead Improvement Project in the FY 2026 CIP fund budget, and to authorize the board chair or designee to execute the grant agreements, approve extension amendments and increases not to exceed 15%. Summary. DGRI was awarded $55 million through the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to support the development of a recreational greenway project connecting multiple regional, city and community trail and park systems. Previously, through a subrecipient grant agreement, the county accepted and appropriated a $16 million contribution toward the completion of a non-motorized trail spanning Plainfield, Cannon, Ada, Cascade, and Lowell Townships, a $3.5 million contribution toward the completion of a non-motorized bridge crossing over the Grand River on Knapp Street, and $500,000 toward an adaptive mountain bike trail system at Johnson Park. Based on the final bid project costs for the projects, DGRI has agreed to contribute an additional $1,066,232 to the Knapp Street Pedestrian Bridge Project, an additional $40,000 toward the Johnson Park Trailhead Improvement Project. The Knapp Street Bridge Project will add a separated pedestrian bridge crossing to the existing Knapp Street Bridge, which will complete an essential gap in the Ada Trail system and connect miles of existing Ada Township and Grand Rapids Township trails to the Grand River Greenway. While led by Kent County Parks, this project is funded through a combination of Ada, DGRI, and Kent County Road Commission funds. The Johnson Park Trailhead Improvement Project includes the rehab and expansion of the existing parking lot, which has been completed, replacement of the existing restroom to a four-season ADA accessible restroom, additional shelter gathering spaces, replacement of the 20-year playground, and the development of an 8-mile adaptive mountain bike trail. The funding from DGRI, coupled with funds raised privately through the Kent County Parks Foundation and the West Michigan Mountain Bike Alliance, will be used to complete the trail portion of the project. The funds must be obligated and spent prior to December 31 of 26 Corporate Counsel will review and approve all documents.
Is there a motion for this item? Moved by Commissioner Oliver King. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Vice Chair Hildebrand. Questions or comments on this item? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion passes. We are on to commissioner comments. Are there any commissioner comments this morning? Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned and just under a half hour. Thank you, everybody.